All right, we're going to get started. So just like every school that I've ever been in, I'm assuming some of you didn't grab one of these when I said to. So Josh is going to come around and he didn't either. Josh is going to come around and give one to you. If you need a pen, we can have them go out. I kind of chuckled because I was like, I knew I said that too late at the end and people weren't going to do it. Nope, need them. Kelly gets a gold star. His is done. He got his. Yeah, we need the paper and pen. While you are getting those things, I want to kind of say this. Last week, Will actually came up and said something about starting streaming on a different program using Twitch, which is the program that he streams on. And it was actually, I thought, a really good idea. And I don't know, it took you, an hour tops? Yeah, it took 30 minutes to an hour yesterday, or last week, I mean, to set up a whole account. So we're actually streaming on Twitch, too. So we just added another one to the list, which is pretty cool because Will can share with his friends that he has online and, do it that way. So it's pretty interesting to have another avenue to talk with people and share what we're doing here. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know. As is normal by now, this is going to be different, hence the paper and pen. We're actually going to have a time in the middle to kind of act on what we're talking about, and that's why you needed it. So let's get started. As I've been a part of a lot of conversations over the last several years, I've heard kind of one major commonality, and that commonality is basically that we know what we are against, but not what we are for. Let me say it again. One of the biggest commonalities I've ever heard when I get into conversations with people is that we know what we are against. We know, I'm against abortion. I'm against whatever. You pick your thing. I'm against this. We know that. We know what we are against, but very rarely can we articulate what we are for. And it's important to know what we are for. The world argues over every issue. Their argument typically is that the opposing viewpoint is bad. The opposing viewpoint is wrong. The other person is evil because they don't think the way I do. Right? That's basically what our culture tells us now when there's a disagreement. When people come together when people talk and they have differing views, generally speaking, they have the only thing that they have in their head is that you're wrong, not necessarily that I might be right. Let me say it this way. When I hear a conversation between two people, an argument between two people, generally speaking, what I hear is one person saying that the other one is wrong. And they can give a list as to why they're wrong. The other person will say that they're wrong and be able to give a list as far as why they're wrong. Did you notice that in that conversation, all you got was that two people are wrong? Nowhere in there was somebody saying, I'm right, and here's why I'm right. Again, we have no problem saying what we are against, but it's very, very uncommon to hear people actually stand up for what they are for. We must start and fight for what we are for and share that with the world. I actually was looking through and trying to figure out, God, what did you want me to say on it's not Veterans Day till Tuesday, but for some reason, it's a weird time this year. It's on Tuesday. Like, I'm so used to making a 4-day weekend or something. It was weird that it was on a Tuesday. But with Veterans Day coming up, I was like, what do you want me to say? And when we're talking about this, it was like, it's about fighting. It's what they do. It's just that this isn't physical altercation. This is like mental and verbal and stuff like that. And it comes from the same thing. It's what they're fighting for. It's what we are fighting for. That was the point. Before we can share what we are fighting for, before we can even give that, though, we must know what we are for. Do you get that? Like, it's really hard to tell people, this is what I believe, these are my principles, this is what I stand for, when you yourself don't even know them. Again, it's very, very, very common to know what you're against, but not be able to articulate what you are for. So let's think about these things. What principles do you hold? What principles do you hold? What are things that you say, this is something that I believe? And can I give examples and give reasons for why I believe it? Is that possible? Have you ever stopped and thought about what principles you have? Have you ever been truly challenged on your principles and actually had to struggle over why you believe that they're correct? Have you ever had your mind changed on something that you did at one point hold as a principle? See, again, a lot of conversations just go to, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And that's all we get out about it. Most times it's just, you're wrong. I encourage you to start listing your principles. I encourage you to take time. We're actually going to take some time here in a few seconds to list a couple principles that you actually hold and the reasons that you hold them. See, it's great to say, well, I believe this. Great. Why? Again, it's really, really easy to say why you're against something, but why are you in favor of something? I want to encourage you to list those reasons, and I want you to make sure that when you're listing the reasons that you're not saying, I believe this because that's wrong. It literally goes against what you just tried. So let's do this. Let's take 2 minutes. Yes, there's going to be 2 minutes of silence. If you're online, you can get a piece of paper and a pen. Do it yourself. Take 2 minutes and write down, let's say, 3 principles that you hold. 3 things that you believe are true and the reasons that you believe them. Okay? Take 2 minutes to write down 3 things. Got it? All right, go ahead. I'm going to turn off the mic just so I don't bump it. I know some of you are still writing. By all means, keep going. I want to encourage you, after you're done, find somebody next to you, across the aisle from you, whatever, and just share one of your things with that person. Okay? So find somebody across and share one of your things with that person. Go ahead. All right. If you are online and you did this as well, I encourage you to write them out. You can put them in the chat or whatever as well. Share them with us. What were some of the principles that you hold? Share them with people. And then the people in the room, obviously we just did that. But I have a question for you. I only asked you for 3. Was it difficult to come up with 3? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's crazy that something as important as your principles, which should be like front and center in your brain and you live with all the time, is so difficult to dig out, right?
But are your principles something that you don't think about them? That is your character. That is your life.
I agree.
That just flows out of you without thinking about it.
Yes, but there's a lot of times, he said that there's a lot of stuff that it's in your character and that it just kind of flows out of you. I agree with that. The only part to that, though, that's kind of different, though, is that because people don't have it front and center, when things happen that come up to violate them, they can't articulate why. And that's where all you get is, you're wrong. I can't say why you're wrong. I don't know why you're wrong. I don't know why I believe what I believe, but I know you're wrong. And then where do you go from there? It's like, well, good for you. Like, you know? So, yeah, even when I was writing this, like I was trying to come up with 3, and when I came up here, I wanted to write a different 3 that I didn't do before, so I had that same, okay, I got to think of 3 things, you know? And yeah, it's not easy to have right in that top of your head, but again, it is your character. But even in that case, like, it is your character. You would think it'd be easier to get a hold of, you know? So, yeah, I'm assuming it was pretty difficult. How about this? So the principles were difficult. Was it difficult to come up with a reason why you believed it? Or did you even get to that part? See, the reasons are hard, too. Because I believe this thing, but it's a matter of why do you believe it? I was talking with a group of students this week, and when I was talking to them, I was going through different soft skills. For those of you that don't know, there's skills that you have that are kind of like innate in you. You can develop them, but it's not like, you know, math and science and stuff like that. It's like your personal appearance and how you handle yourself and things like that. So I was going through this list of them, and one of the things I mentioned to them is ethics and morals. And I said everyone has ethics and morals. Everyone does. The difference is, where do you get them? See, some people get their ethics and morals from their community, right? My community believes this, therefore this is how I behave. Some people get their ethics and morals from their immediate family. This is how we as, this family behave. Some people get their ethics and morals from their faith. We as Christians, we as, Buddhists, we as whatever. Like because I'm in this faith, that's where I get my ethics and morals from. And I said, and if none of that applies to you, you still have ethics and morals because you make them up yourself. You will always have ethics and morals. You will know this is right, this is wrong, always. You will come up with it on your own if necessary. In this, though, again, coming back to this idea of principles, like it's how do we come up with the reasons why? Because there is a reason, obviously, or else you wouldn't hold them. Is it because of your faith? Is it because of your family? Is it because of the environment that we're in, that we're Americans and not in Asia or something? Like what is it that makes you hold that principle? I encourage you over the next week to keep developing these, to keep figuring out what other principles you hold and why. I encourage you to just go into Google and type in the thing and see if you can find any Bible verses in reference to these things. To say, let's just see what the Bible has to say about integrity, about being honest. I have a value for honesty. I have a principle to be honest at all times. What does the Bible say about that? And to be able to look it up and say, I have this principle of integrity, and here's why I believe it. Here's 3 Bible verses for it. Here's that our culture is supposed to be based off of the truth above all else, right? All right. So I want to encourage you to do that. Look up Bible verses. The other thing I want you to look up are quotes, famous quotes. Sounds weird, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of smart people that lived before us. And they came up with things that are way better off than what some of us can even possibly think of. So look up quotes. So Bible verses, historical quotes. And the last thing is anything from experts, legitimate experts. I'm putting that caveat in there. Something where you can actually go back and actually look it up. So what are your principles? Why do you hold them? The reason why I'm saying it this way isn't so that somebody else is forming your opinion. Well, so-and-so says this. That's great. I'm just wanting you to have more information so that when you have a principle that I'm telling you, at some point, somebody's going to either violate that principle or they're going to disagree with your principle, you can explain why you are for what you are for and not just to say you're wrong. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So that's what I want to encourage you to do over the next week. When you have that list, when it's all said and done and you have this list, you need to determine which of them are worth spending your life fighting for. This is the actual culmination of this. Because again, the whole point of what we're talking about today is, will you fight for your principles? There are principles in my life that I will say, look, this is my principle. I believe this. This is absolutely true. And if somebody comes up and disagrees with me, I'm just going to, whatever. Believe whatever you want to believe. And I'll go along my way. But there's other principles that I have that when somebody comes up and disagrees, I have to go for. I have to interject and say, this is why I believe that. When you come up with this list, I'm telling you, there's going to be principles that are like that. There's going to be principles where when somebody disagrees with you, it's what's the phrase? Agree to disagree. I hate that phrase, but that's kind of what you go with, right? Hey, you believe what you believe. I believe what I believe. Neither one of us is going to be better or worse off. We're not actually going to change each other's minds. Let's just let it go and move on. Right? There are principles that are like that. There are other principles that are way beyond that, and you have to go for. And that's what I'm talking about here. What are those principles that you must fight for? I'll give you an easy one. This is for me. I'm not saying this should be for you. You can leave it alone. One of those principles for me is the right to live. I have a huge belief that everyone has a right to live because we are all created by God, because we all have a piece of God in us, because we all have a purpose that we must fulfill. I believe that life is critical. Therefore, when somebody says, I think we should be able to kill people, whether that's in the womb or when they are, 90 years old and locked up on a hospital bed, I just think it's wrong. We don't kill people. Does that make sense? That's something for me, because of my belief, because of my principle, because of why I believe what I believe that even when you're on that deathbed, quote unquote, God can heal you. So why would I let somebody else take it away? Does that make sense? I'm against, I know we're not supposed to be saying what we're against, but I'm against abortion. Why? Because I believe that baby has a right to live, and that it has a purpose and a reason for being, and that if we take that life away, then we're displeasing God, for one, but we're also not allowing what that baby was supposed to do in the world to come out. Yeah, we don't know what that person is going to be. Why would we cut it off? Well, what if it was a murderer? It still has a choice. We'll deal with that when it comes. But again, why are we only thinking of the negative? Well, that's wrong. No. Does that make sense? Like, there are things where, okay, let's just not have the argument, agree to disagree, move on. But there's other things that are so important to me, specific. I'm sure you're going to find some for you too. There are some things that are so important that when that comes up, you have to address it. You can't just let it go. It's not just an agree to disagree. You're killing someone. That is not okay ever. That's my view on that. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm just trying to show you the difference here. Yeah. All right. So which principles can you exercise on a daily basis? Which principles can you share with others? All that stuff's important. We have one verse that we're going to really look at today, and it's just going to go up here, Will, and you can just leave it up there. Don't take it down. And that's Micah 6:8. Micah 6:8, I love this translation. It's New Century Version. It says, the Lord has told you, human. I love the way it says that. The Lord has told you, human, what is good. You get it? God has told you what is good. He has told you what he wants from you. It is to do right to other people, to love being kind to others, and to live humbly, obeying your God. A lot of people know the other translation, to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. That I just wanted to show you. I love this translation. I think it's pretty good. So what does God want from us? What principles should we hold? Well, he says to do what is right to other people, to love others, to love being kind to others, to love others, to live humbly, and to obey God. It reminds me actually of what Jesus said. See, Jesus said that I came to fulfill the law and the commandments, and everything boils down to these two: to love God and to love people. I'm putting that in Bill translation, but you get the idea. Everything, every command, every rule, every law always boiled down to two things: love God or love people. And it's important to know that that is what we need to do. These are core principles. I want to take it to another place. I told you when we do this, I want you to start thinking about this in different lights. Look at Bible verses. Look at historical quotes. Look at experts that are doing these things. So let's look at a historical quote, something that you definitely know. It says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." It's interesting to notice here the similarity between that quote and that verse. Let me say it again. We hold these truths to be self-evident. What does that mean? It means that these truths that we're about to say are so obvious that we don't even think we really need to say them, but we're going to. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All right, what's that truth? What are those truths? That all men are created equal. Are all men equal? No, they're all created equal. Why? Because God created each one. The whole point of this is that it's saying that you have a creator that created all of you to be equal. That there's nothing different between you and me. That there's nothing different between you and that person that really gets on your nerves. There's really nothing different there. They're all created by God. They all have a purpose. They all have a reason for being. So we need to, what does this say? To love doing what is right to other people. To love being kind to others. Why? Because that's obeying God. All men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. What does that mean? That means that they have been given certain rights by the government? No, by God. They're inalienable. They're not things that were given by people. They were given by God. That among these means that there's more than what I'm about to list. Among these are life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. It's interesting to see the similarities. Like I said, there's an acknowledgement in this declaration of a creator. Oh, we're not a Christian, nation. Really? Have you read any of these documents? Have you read any of their letters? So, I have some questions for you. I'm just trying to help you with some of your principles. Just some questions. Do you believe in truth? I hope so. Do you know that truth has a name? The Bible says that Jesus, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Did you know that truth has a name? Why do I believe that truth is important? Because truth is Jesus. I have a principle for integrity. I have a principle for honesty. Why? Because I believe in Jesus. And Jesus is the truth. Do you believe that we're all created? And that at creation we are all equal? Do you believe that we have been given rights by our Creator and not from some other entity? Do you believe it? Again, I'm just trying to help you with some principles here, guys. Do you believe these things? Do you believe that everyone has the right to life? Go back to that same verse again. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life is the last one. Jesus is the life. When we cut people's life, what do? We try to take out Jesus. Good luck. Do you believe that everyone has the right to liberty? Do you believe that everyone has the right to do whatever they want to do, even if it violates things that you wish that they wouldn't? I hope so, because that's what God did to you. He said, I'm going to create this, and I'm going to give it free will. I hope that it finds me and listens to me and obeys me. And because if it does, if this creation does, then it's going to be so much better. It's going to identify what purpose that I've given to it. It's going to actually accomplish all the goals that I have created it for. But it does have free will. And it's possible that this thing that I created is going to go and do something else. That's liberty. That's freedom. Do you have the right? Do you believe that everyone has the right to pursue their own happiness? Notice I didn't say to achieve happiness. That's where a lot of people mess up. You don't have the right to be happy. You have the right to go after something that makes you happy. Do you believe that these are only the beginning of the rights that our Creator has given to us? That there are other ones? There are rights throughout the Bible that we should claim as rights. That there are rights listed in like the Bill of Rights that we should claim. Freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms, protect ourselves and protect others, freedom to ensure that the government remains where it should be and not become so large that people view it as God. That gives us these rights. That's where we're at right now, guys, in case you didn't know. The people that say, I agree, but the people that say rights come from government are saying that the government is their creator.
We have totally abandoned our Constitution.
Agreed.
Right off the first line.
Declaration, but yep. Do we believe that all of these come only from God? Do we actually believe these things? Say, I wanted to make sure that we saw that the Bible is full of them. I mean, I'm telling you, just in this one verse, you can pull out, 3 or 4 principles. We also have historical documents with people that are way smarter than me, I'll tell you that much, that they were able to recognize from the Bible, here are some other rights that the Bible has. Life. Well, where's that in the Bible? I just explained it to you. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Liberty. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Pursuit of happiness. I mean, the Bible is just full of references to joy and how important joy is. Well, to me, joy is the next level up from happiness. Do you notice that all of these rights are kind of subsets to this verse? Because this verse is essentially love God and love people. And every one of the things I just said can be put into one of those 2 categories. Why do we tell the truth? Because it's Jesus. Why do we believe everybody has important to life? Because of Jesus. Why do we believe that we have the right to protect ourselves? Because that's the way God created nature. The laws of nature, nature's God. For those of you that don't know, that's where that comes from. See, it's great to know our principles. It's great to know why we have our principles. But I will tell you that there is one more thing that we need to do. And that is that we need to exercise our principles. We need to actually do them. Well, I have a principle that everyone can say whatever they want. Well, you can't shout fire in a crowded movie theater. Yes, you can. Is it right to do? Maybe not. But I'm going to tell you that if I think I see a fire under the thing, I'm going to say fire. And if it turns out that there wasn't fire over there, they're not going to put me in jail. Because I thought I was being sincere. I know of one person that actually filled up a movie theater, and they stood up in the middle, and they said, before we start the movie, I'm just going to do this to prove a point. And he yelled fire. And they all kind of laughed and clapped, and he sat down, and they watched the movie. And nothing happened. It's like, I believe that everybody has the right to say what they want. Does that mean that there's some really bad stuff that gets said? Yep. Why? Because I believe everybody has a purpose and free will. I think there are things that you should say and shouldn't say, but that doesn't mean that it's my job to dictate that. That's why I laugh when people, before they know that I'm a pastor, will, F this, F that, cussing left, right, and center, and then when they find out, they're like, They're just words. And if you knew that you shouldn't say them around a pastor, what makes you think you should say them around other people? Let's be honest. We need to exercise these God-given rights. We need to be able to see that we are powerful and able to rule ourselves under the biblical example that is listed in the Bible and in our founding documents. Sadly, though, these principles of ours are always under constant attack. So your challenge today, this is the big thing, this is where we're going to end, is to fight for what you are for and not what you're against. Make sense? Fight for what you're for. Don't fight against the things that you're against. Don't do that. Say, I believe this. Fight for your principles. Know why you hold them. Know the why. Why do I have a value for integrity? Because Jesus said, I am the truth. That I believe that when you're honest, you don't have to remember your lies. That even if you say something that is truthful that hurts you, it's better to do that because you are showing responsibility and being able to own your mistakes. It's important. Fight for your principles. Know why you hold them. Fight for the rights that you've been given by God. Know what they are. Know that the 3 listed in the Declaration is not all of them. It says that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, implying that there are a lot more. In fact, that those first 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights for a reason. They're the other inalienable rights. Well, some of them. I want you to fight for your rights and why you hold them. And then the last thing is I want you to exercise your rights. Go through. Actually do the things that you're supposed to do. Stand for truth. Don't just call out people when they're not being truthful. Make sure you yourself are always being truthful. Right? Even if it hurts, it's better off. Hey, I have a value for truth. I'm going to tell you when, if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you the truth. And sometimes you might not like it. I told people this all the time. Those stupid interview questions that you get when you go into a job when they say, what's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? Remember those questions? I hate those questions. I think they're funny, but what's your greatest strength, Bill? Well, I'm always honest. I'll tell you the truth no matter what. What's your greatest weakness? I'm always honest. And I'm going to tell you the truth no matter what. And they usually chuckle and think I'm kidding until the first time. Well, what do you think about this? I think it sucks. I think you could be a lot better if you did it this way. Well, what did you think about this meeting that we just had? I think it would have been better off in an email. Why did you waste an hour of our life? I see why you're saying this gives a benefit. Okay, I got you, yeah. I want you to exercise these things. These are not things just to let it go. Yay, great message. Yes, we need to make sure we're better at it. No, actually do it. And again, you have a start on these papers. That's why I want you to actually write them down. Take them home. Continue it. Don't just end with 3. Write out your principles until you can't think of any more, and then ask God for more. Find the verses that reference them. Find the historical documents and historical quotes that reference them. Things that you agree with. All right, let's stand. Lord, thank you for today and for this this message that you gave, that principles are so important, that we all have principles that we live by, and that these principles are so important to be able to explain why we are for what we are for. Help us to not only recognize what principles we hold dear, but help us to also know why we hold them. Give us references, give us quotes, give us all sorts of stuff as we're going through this to find out exactly why we hold these truths. Lord, help us get through and understand why you've made us the way you've made us. Why our character is this way. Help us to recognize it. Because ultimately, you're the one that created us. All of these things were endowed by you, our Creator. Lord, help us to stand for our principles and to exercise our principles in every place that we can. And Lord, we just thank you for everything that you've given us, everything you've created us to be.